Angels, it seems like you guys really enjoy the videos where I talk about game philosophy and why I do the things that I do. And sometimes in the raw gameplay videos, things happen so fast that you guys only see me destroying people, but the why and the how is lost. So today is going to be all about philosophy of managing group fights, those 1vx situations, and chaining those multi-kills together to hit those massive kill streaks. So we'll go over some strategies, and then we're going to analyze some clips to see where those techniques take place in actual gameplay. Now, for today's video, you're expected to be familiar with Chivalry terminology and game mechanics. If you're brand new, I'll link my offensive and defensive guide down below. Like and subscribe if you're not already a member of the Angels. Now, the first thing I want to touch on, it's such an underrated skill, and that's target acquisition and selection. So many people focus on the raw mechanics, but those game sense things are equally important, and how you choose who to fight and kill has a massive impact on how you perform in game. Veteran Angels will know this right here is one of my favorite sayings, but always pick the low-hanging fruit. In group fights, you want to get the easiest person back to the respawn as quick as possible. A fight might start 1v3, but you want to turn it into a 1v2, then a 1v1 as fast as possible. So prioritize players who are bloody, seem to lack awareness, or use only basic attacks. Basically, always get rid of the shitters first. And just for those who say it's dishonorable to gank or backstab, please remember it's almost always the fault of the person who is ganked for lacking awareness, positioning, or making poor decisions. Secondly, we want to use a feature called active parry in group fights. What active parry does is when you block or counter strike, you automatically block all incoming enemy strikes for a short period of time. Knowing when your active parry is up is crucial to surviving group fights, as with experience you learn when you can block one strike and tank the next while focusing on landing your own offense. One of the most important skills to win in group fight situations in Chivalry 2 is what I like to call target switching. Target switching occurs in two situations. Situation 1, I counter my enemy's attack. Rather than throw my counter right back at the enemy, I drag my mouse to another enemy who is less likely to expect the attack. Target switching can also occur in situations where you start your attack animation looking at one enemy and then change mid-swing to another. Target switching is a tried and true method of winning fights you should lose against multiple enemies who are all tunnel visioned on adding to their kill counts. I think the last thing I want to talk about on surviving these group fights or 1vx's is stamina management. And it's so important, especially after the changes in the last patch where some weapons do increase stamina damage. And properly managing your stamina is the difference between getting 2 kills and dying or going on a 10 plus kill streak with no pauses. And there's a few things I want to touch on here. First is countering, and you guys who watch me a lot know I hate when I don't counter an attack, but counters are your #1 way to keep your stamina bar filled. And while it may be impossible to counter every attack at you, there are certain players who will feed you free counters. And I was actually laughing today because there was another post on Reddit about slash spam with the Highland sword, and in my head I'm just like, you're just shit dog, because I love slash spammers. Those boys have set me up for so many wild kill streaks by feeding me free, easy to counter attacks that keep my stamina bar filled. It's just crazy. I love those guys. Spam away. So focus on trying to always hit counters on these types of players. They are the gift that keeps on giving. And while we're talking about stamina, I lastly just want to talk a little bit about dodging, and I'm firm on the opinion that you should dodge as a last resort or only when you really need to. And there's a really effective dodge playstyle that you see a lot of players who use the Executioner Axe or Highland or even sometimes the Dane Axe, where they attack, then immediately dodge and gamble, and they do this almost religiously. And this will work in public lobbies 100%, but it's good to get a kill or two, and then unfortunately your stamina is drained. And I don't think this is the most efficient way to play the game if you want to go on those wild continuous kill streaks. I know I've talked to my boy Hammer about this a few times, but sometimes players who use this, it becomes a habitual thing where they always dodge after they attack, and oftentimes the dodge was unnecessary and a waste of stamina. So try and focus on staying in the pocket and utilizing counters and footwork while saving those dodges as kind kind of like a get out of jail free card or something you use to reposition yourself. All right, guys, let's get into some gameplay clips. I'll point things out along the way. I think you guys are going to like this clip right here. It's a good one to start with. And once I get up top, what you're going to notice as the clip goes on, I'm using a lot of target switching, and I'm taking the free slash counters from enemies to lead into those target switching. Especially over at the end, the last few kills, you'll notice I hit a bunch of counters and just switch to different enemies. This next clip here, it was really clean and smooth. It actually made it to the top of Reddit. And as you guys watch this one, I want you guys to look for and notice how many counters I was able to get in these fights. And if you notice my stamina bar, it was filled basically the entire fight. I didn't dodge, I stayed in the pocket, and I just countered, target switched, used my offense, and it just led to a wild kill streak. And again, I was alive for a long time without having to take any stamina rest.
The fray. God, Zeus! Half of the Agathian relics are destroyed. Keep smashing.
This last clip here, I think it's a real good example of kind of like that situational awareness or the game sense. I think my target selection was real good here. I switched to a lot of bloody targets to take the free kills, and I was able to kind of navigate out from a pretty sticky situation with a lot of enemies and stay alive and get a lot of kills.